the comparison trap is outrageous. And his friends are like, you're being cursed because you're not that great. Like, they're just like throwing more salt in his wounds. And they're like, you're not as godly as you thought you were. And you're not as great as you thought you were. And like, you really need to get your ish together, because if God really loved you, you wouldn't be suffering.
Hey ladies, welcome to the She's Rooted podcast.
We're about to get real unscripted.
So pull up a chair. Let's get to the root of it. Feel free to sing it now. We are recording.
Ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, ching, ching, blah, bing, bang.
Welcome back to the She's Rooted podcast, my friends. If this is the first time you're pulling up a chair, welcome. Get ready. We filmed a whole podcast not that long ago. Never hit record. Here we are. It was so good.
Devastating.
Another day. Another day. Maybe it will come out. But with that being said, today, after that, we decided hit the record button because it's kind of important, you know? You can't have a podcast if you don't record it. And we pivoted to a whole different topic. That birthed a completely different topic. And we're going to leave that in the wish we woulda hit record. But I'm going to drop this quote and we'll see what happens. So our last podcast, if you listened in, it was a good one, Mo. It was raw. It was real. And it definitely was just about protecting that boundary and that space and knowing that whatever somebody's projecting out in a negative way doesn't necessarily have anything to do with you. It has everything to do with what they're battling internally. And it was really good. And this quote, I think, can piggyback in a different way, like snowballing, building that mindset and lifting yourself up and out of things. And as we are driving some good roots into our life, we're picking some weeds out at the same time. So here's a quote that I came across. Mel Robbins actually dropped it, but it's not her quote. It says it's unknown. So we don't know who wrote it, but it's a good one. It says, becoming the best version of yourself comes with a lot of goodbyes. And if you're a quote person and you like writing these things down, quotes can definitely pull you up and out of your own way. And if this one speaks to you, we're gonna try and get below that surface level throughout this entire podcast, but maybe write it down. Becoming the best version of yourself comes with a lot of good buys. Where does that take you, Mo?
I'm excited to hear your thought on this too. I feel like initially, obviously I'm like, yeah, amen. Like for sure. We're not designed to just stay the same, right? And you, if you're as old as we are, then you have gone through a lot of goodbyes, whether it's
21.
relationships or habits. Exactly. In 21 years, you've seen a lot.
Here we are.
But I think that it also reminds me of the quote that something around like the only thing constant is change. And for me, they tie together, you know, and I think you have to be saying goodbye to things in order to grow. If we're talking about growing into the best version of yourself, then yeah, it totally makes sense. And I can look just real quick as you rattle it off. I could think about like, yeah, look at these things I've said goodbye to, or who I once was, or this version of me that I did operate in even a short time ago compared to who I'm continuing to grow into. And like we talk about a lot on here, is being intentional in that growth and dancing through the rain, if you will, and kind of digging those roots deeper instead of being tossed to and fro in every direction. And like you said on the last podcast, really trying to root down into like who we are and not letting other things trim away at that or pull away at that, right? And I think this
Right.
is the same. Like it's this one's different because it's almost like positional power of I'm choosing to say goodbye to these things. And I think you have to, in order to say yes to something else in your life, you have to say no to other things. I think it's
Yeah.
powerful.
Right. It's not always easy to do, though.
No,
You know what I mean?
I think it's actually very hard to do.
Right.
I mean, clearly, because if we look around at humans, people, we're not all consistently growing to the best version of ourselves. There's a lot of people that could care less. There's a lot of people
Right.
that choose to hang on to bad things, toxic things, things that they knowingly know that are not great for them, that are not helping them to get to be that best version of themselves,
Right.
because that is the easier way. Sometimes it's easier to play the victim and stay stuck to something than it is to actually say no and move forward.
But what's not easy is getting your mindset in a perspective shift that, man, I'm not stuck. I'm choosing to stand
Right.
where I'm at. And it's the fear, it's the comfort zone that usually holds people back in those moments. Like, you could go in a million different directions on whatever the heck you're going to say goodbye to if you want to be the best version of yourself. Like, years ago, I had to say bye to Oreos, and they still come for a visit. Like, damn it, they do. We all have our vices. But if we were to branch off of last week's podcast, we have to say goodbye to not putting our self worth first. And I do believe that women have a hard time with this one because we wear so many damn hats that don't even look good on our head. You talk a lot about wearing somebody else's shoes that hurt your feet, but we just allow it to like shift our day, shift our mood, like get in our way. We're the yes person because you know what I mean? Like we don't say no because we're either in that people pleasing mindset, we're in that fear of the other side mindset, like we don't want to walk away from something because we don't really know what's on the other side of that door.
Mm-hmm.
But don't we think that if there is something pulling at us, whether it is, I know that I shouldn't be treated this way, I know that I'm made for more, I know that I want to go create something in this passion wheel,
Mm-hmm.
then why don't we walk through it quicker? Why don't we just do it? What is holding us back? Why won't we say goodbye to the things that are holding us where we're at?
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like for a lot of the times that I think even in my own life, like you just it's that comfort, right? Like it's because actually you and I have both written about this. Like it's that comfort zone. You wrote about it in regards to like walking on a treadmill versus walking off the treadmill. It's this idea of this is what I know at least. And if I'm to say goodbye to this, to go, like you said, after a passion or after a better health or after a better career, if I'm to let go of this thing and say no to this, I'm venturing out into a place of unknown. I know this and I don't know this.
Right.
And the thing that I get excited about is like that quote, but what if I fail? But what if you don't? Right? Like yeah, that is unknown. And yeah, you don't know where you're going to be if you stop eating Oreos every day. Like, you don't know what that's going to look like. That's your comfort. That's what you do know. You've made it this far eating Oreos. What happens if you stop, right? Like, that's reality. That's real. We could think that's a silly analogy, but that's real. I got a grandmother who's smoked her entire life, and she's like, the minute I quit, I'm gonna die. Like, I know it. She's 87. She's been smoking
Yeah.
since she's 13. It's like a very real thing, right? This is what I know. This is my comfort. And I think when we say we're gonna move past that, now we're stepping out into the unknown, and that can be super scary.
Right. But I do love I love what you shared when we were chatting prior to pressing record what you gathered the other day, that lesson, because I do think that that could correlate together very nicely with this quote, because I do think that there are a lot of things, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of experiences that we walk through that test us, that will try to get us off of that best version of ourself track. And if we believe all of the negativity, if we believe all of the things that are being said to us or being done to us, the backhanded comments, the like unnecessary smirks and laughs, and the doubts that get sent your way, like, who do you think you are? Like, no one's ever going to know your name. I've been told that by people that I would have never thought would have ever said that to me. And I had a moment right there, and I will never forget it. I was sitting in front of my fireplace. Me, Matt, Kirsten, Talon were playing Monopoly, and I had a phone call come in, and I was told that if you don't go, they're never going to know. Like, it was a big event that was important to me, but we had a family event that was also important, and it overlapped on the same time. And I had to make a decision. I already knew, like, for a long time that we had this. We had plane tickets purchased. We had all these things. We had people coming with. Like, it was a big deal in my, like, passion career point. And I could not let, like, it was unfortunate that it happened on the same weekend, but it already committed somewhere. And I had that phone call come in, and like, people say things out of love because they want you to be somewhere with them, right? But they say it in a way to try and shake you out of your yes that's important to you, so that you say no to that and yes to what's important to them.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that what's important to them is not important to you. It's just sometimes they just can't align a yes at the exact same time, right? So I remember sitting there, and I'm hearing them say, they're never going to know if you were in that stadium. They are never going to know your name. That CEO of the company is never going to know who you are. You are never going to speak on stage. Get that idea out of your head. It's never going to happen. So what if you don't go this year? You can go next year. It's no big deal. They're never going to know who you are. You're never going to speak on stage was the last sentence that I got. And I had a moment right there where I could have crumbled. I could have tore my yes down of what was important, and I could have shifted. But instead I said, right after I was told, you will never speak on stage, ever. Get that out of your head. I said 2 words, and then I hung up the phone. Watch me. Click. And guess who spoke on stage that following year? Your girl right here. But like, when we have things that are important to us, we have to stay grounded and rooted in why it's important to us. It doesn't mean that other things are not important. It's just when your word is everything. And if you give something your word, like, you have to show up for that. And
Yeah.
it was an unfortunate timing, but that was planned way, way, way before I even knew about that particular event. And I hated that I missed it, but people that you love might try to shift you out of things too. And they're doing it with the right intentions, the right heart.
Right.
But that moment, I feel like I could have went one or the other way. Like, and I said,
But I think it's telling, and for our listeners, like, there's something to that you are already hardwired to know that you know that you know that you know that you know, right? Like, the fact that you could have gone either way, but you were like, you instantly knew that you knew that you knew. You were like, watch me click. Like, that to me is so telling. It wasn't a wavering. There was no real uncertainty to you as to what you knew that you knew that you knew that you knew you had to do. And there wasn't a wishy-washiness of like an overthinking. Am I being selfish? Am I being crazy? Like, you had such a knowing. And to me, that is being rooted. To me, that is when you're, it's the definition, is when you're so rooted in what you know you are called to do, supposed to do. And it's in the smallest things to the biggest things. But when you're so rooted in that, that nothing can shake you, like you said, like nothing can talk you out of it. I had a different train of thought that I was going to go with and I lost it, but it's the definition of that knowingness where you're like, anybody could say anything to me at this point, and I know that I know that I know that I'm right in this for me, and I have to do this.
Right.
And that's powerful.
Right.
That's
It,
very
it's
powerful.
not always easy though to stand your ground when you are standing in a conversation with like the people in the corners and the circles of your life. Like, but their job is to try and press you. They want you to do what they want you to do. Or what they that made no sense. They want you
Yeah,
to do what they want.
you to
No,
do.
it did
Yeah,
make
you
sense.
said it right. Yeah, yeah,
Nailed it. Nailed it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
and like that made no sense, but it made sense. Um and that's human nature. Like that's
For
what's
sure,
gonna
for
happen.
sure. And you're, that's when I think you get tested, right? Like you're tested on that depth and that rudeness in your own life, that uniqueness of your own life, and your ability to say like, no, like this is my life, and these are the, oh, that's what I wanted to say. Rooted to me is that position where you can 1000% back your decision that you're making yourself, where it's not where you're like, I'm doing this because so and so, or I'm doing this because I should, because I feel, because I have guilt, or because I have some sort of shame, or I'm doing this because so. When you are rooted, it's like you 100% back it. Like if you were the only one on the whole planet that like had to own it, and you're like, I made the, yep, this was me, a
Yeah.
1000%, and I would do it all over again.
Right.
That's rooted. Like to me, those are the choices. That's like, that goes back to the quote I always tag, today is a gift, live beautifully. Like a beautiful life, I think we've talked about it before, is the life that you live fully, meaning you make your choices fully. And you are 100,000,000% solid that yes, this is the choice I'm making. I know that I'm consciously making this choice. Is this an easy choice? No, it doesn't have to be easy, but I know that I know that I know that I know that it's mine and I'm owning it. Good or bad outcome, I made it. Like
Right.
that is the best place to live. If you could live in that, and every decision you make from, now until eternity, that would be amazing. I know that I don't do that. I know that there have been times that I do that. Um, but as a recovering people pleaser, I don't do that all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
People pleaser, former here as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Um but you're always going to less than what's important to you if you don't step into your own truth, your own path, your own choices. Like you get to make the next choice in your life. And if you do it in a manner where it's rooted in what's good for you and respectful to those that are trying to unroot you, you can't lose in that situation because the people that actually see you, care about you, love you will then start to understand. I didn't understand it then, but I understand why you made that choice. I now see that it was important to you.
Well, I'm
And
getting,
now guess who comes and watched me on stage? You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah.
just it's important to walk through those things. I think you get tested. And this is why I want you to bring up what you shared with me before I press record, because I do think that we have these little tests that come in to see, like, okay, are you really serious about what you say you want to do? Like, does this dream really matter to you? Like, is that passion? Like, is that something you really want to chase? Do you want to make that difference? Or are you just saying that this is like kind of important to you right now? Or do you see yourself beyond your dream, beyond like what you feel is possible? Do you see yourself rising above all of that and really grabbing a hold of something that you feel that you were purposefully called to do? Like you were created to make a difference. We all were. It's just you have to figure out what that difference actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think you're talking about what I shared with you that we heard in church the other night. Is that
Yes.
okay? So let me preface this and just let you know, like, if you don't know, if you are just tuning in, I am a believer, and my faith is like my guiding light. So I'm prefacing this that I'm going to share something with you that I believe. I'm not trying to say you have to believe it, but this was just an incredible message, and I do think that it goes for. I believe it goes for anybody, but it is from the Bible. So I was at church the other night, and we've been going through the book of Job, and I was telling Jamie this, that I think that it's such a just exciting message to me, because my whole life's passion, I love helping women understand that, like, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. I feel like we live in a time, and maybe we always have, but all I can speak to is the time I live in, where I just feel like the pressures on women are insane, and every woman is like looking around and comparing, and do I measure up, and do I have this, or do I have that, or is my spouse this, or am I this, or where do I go, or what do I do? And like the comparison trap is outrageous. The ability to stand in your uniqueness is getting less and less. I feel like you can just see that everywhere. And I feel like it's part of my calling to remind you as a human, not just a woman, but as a human, that you are fearfully and wonderfully made on purpose for a purpose. And with all of your flaws and everything that makes you different, I think that's so special. And I think when I was sharing with Jamie the other night, we were at church and we're going through the book of Job. And the book of Job, just real quick, is basically this very upright man. He was a prestigious business guy. He had a bunch of kids. He had a beautiful wife. He had all this land. He was like the it guy back in the day. And he loved God, and he feared God, and he did everything right. And everybody would come to him for advice and wisdom. And like, he was just so well respected. And all of a sudden he loses everything, like loses his business. All 10 kids die in one day, like literal, just flip the whole script on him. And he's devastated. And then if that's not enough, he starts to get this sickness with boils all over his skin. He's frail, he's skinny, his stomach's, and not like, you go through about 40 chapters of just horrendous, horrific, like pain and suffering. And through this experience, as his whole world is coming apart, he's kind of like going in and out of like, okay, I love God and I believe God, but like, what is happening? I think I've done everything right. I think I'm over here. Like, what is going on? And his friends are like, you're being cursed because you're not that great. Like, they're just like throwing more salt in his wounds. And they're like, you're not as godly as you thought you were. And you're not as great as you thought you were. And like, you really need to get your ish together, because if God really loved you, you wouldn't be suffering. And they're just like throwing me. And what we don't see in there, what Job doesn't understand, is behind the scenes, it was a test that Satan had come to God and basically was like, this guy that you're touting, this guy, he only loves you because you've blessed him so much. And God's like, go ahead and try, like, test him then. That's not true. And Satan's like, watch what happens when you wipe out his entire family and take his business from him. He's going to curse you. And God's like, no, he's not. He's like, you can do that. Go ahead and do that. Just don't kill him. So basically, and I'm obviously paraphrasing this whole book to catch you up to where I want to go, but he does it. He's going through it all. And Job doesn't curse God, but he's like, God, what the heck? Like, I thought I was doing everything right. And he's going back and forth with these terrible friends that aren't really friends, that are telling him he's awful. And so he's in this place of just like questions. And if you're listening still, like, I'm sure you've been in a place of questions too, whether you believe in God or not. I think we're all human, and we do share that commonality where you're like, what is going on right now? Like, everything maybe feels like it's in shambles, or you feel completely directionally lost, like in your life. You're like, is this all is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Or maybe you feel like you're tossed to and fro in life, and you're like, I don't know which direction to go. I'm basically like a monkey chasing I am just a mess. And what is so fascinating was the other night, God actually answers Job, and he basically says to Job, like, okay, I hear you questioning me and all this, but like, were you there when I created the world? Were you there when I laid the boundaries of the ocean and like didn't let the water go past this boundary? Were you there when I created blah, blah, blah? And he starts going into creation. And he says, even like you in your mother's womb, Were you there, like, making it happen? And obviously, all of us are like, no, I wasn't. At least I'll say it. I got no clue, right? But he starts to go into these, then he goes into creation about, this is the part that I was like, I love this. He is sharing about the ostrich. And he's sharing, again, I'm going to paraphrase all this because I just want to get the message across. You can go read your Bible if you want to read it. But he's sharing about the ostrich. And he's like, Job, look at the ostrich. Like, do you know about the ostrich that it's basically like a 300-pound bird that has wings and feathers that serve it no purpose because it can't fly and it can run about 40 miles an hour. Like its claim to fame is that it's fast, but it is dumb. Like it lays its eggs. They share a nest. I didn't even know this. They share a nest with each other and they all pile eggs on, like, we're all like, Jamie, you and I are like laying eggs together on a nest and they're rolling out and I'm stepping on eggs. I don't know if it's my egg, your egg. I just killed your baby. I don't know. Like it's a mess. They're dumb. Like they're not even paying attention. And so God made this big, dumb bird that can't fly. It just can run fast. It's not even a good mom. And God's basically like, but I made it that way and it brings me joy and I love it. And then the next phrase is about this horse. That's this like master for disaster. Like he's built to go into battle and he can't wait to like charge and like he's fearless. And you go through that and God's like, and I made him that way and I love him. He's not supposed to be the dumb ostrich and the ostrich isn't supposed to have no fear like the horse. And then he goes into, and do you even realize that there's these birds that, this is wild, there's these birds that are in Alaska that have babies, they lay their babies, and as soon as these parents lay their babies, they go to Hawaii. Like, yo, peace out, it's vacation time. Yeah, and they leave the babies in Alaska. And without any book, the babies have they start to eat, and I forget if it's 6 weeks or 12 weeks, but they have to double their size in a very short window of time. They literally double their weight because they innately know that they have to travel to Hawaii, which they've never been to, and they have to fly across the ocean with no landmarks, and they have just enough fuel to do it, and they get there to meet their parents. Like, this blows my mind, and also it brings me such peace, and that's my goal in sharing here today, is that the things that we get so caught up in, and like we opened up with, like, you have to say no to things in order to get to your best version of yourself. And then we're going down your track, you know, Jamie, of being able to stand and be rooted. And it's like, when you hear these things, for me at least, and maybe for you if you're listening, it brings you this pause moment where you go, oh my gosh, I get so caught up in these things that are so big in my world, right? Because this is our world and this is so big to me. But like, on the bigger note, if God can put in this bird exactly what it's supposed to do to get to where it's got to go over an ocean with no landmarks, without a person telling it what to do, without something that, like, can we trust? Can we sit back for a second and trust and believe that whatever the desires of our heart is, whatever that vision is that was planted in you, whatever those things you want to go after, whatever the quirks are that you have, those things that make you maybe like a little ostrich, or maybe that fearlessness that you have that people tried to squash down and say was too much, can we just sit back and believe for a minute and embrace that maybe, just maybe, you were absolutely made perfectly for a very specific calling, and that maybe, just maybe, if you got rooted in that, you would open up doors that nobody can close. And there is such a peace to that.
It's so good.
There's such a peace to that. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, not on accident. There is no piece of you that they're like, oops, I didn't mean to do it. Well, send it out anyway. Like, that didn't happen.
Right.
All the things that people have said you're not, all of the things that people have made you feel like you are, all of the things that have pushed you down or pushed you over or made you zip your lip or made you play small, or any of those places that you've been in and you're like, I feel so alone. all of those things, if you can just for a second take that blanket and like put it over all of that and stand in, wait a second, what if I actually, instead of kicking against it, instead of doubting, instead of replaying this story, instead of replaying this feeling, instead of if I were to just like hush it all down for a second, what if I tried a different way? What if I tried to say no to all of that? And I embraced the yes of like who I actually feel like I really am here to be, and what I actually value, and what my morals are, and what my message is. And what if I tried a different way? What if I tried to just walk focused on that? And
And before you know it, you're saying goodbye to things that have been holding you back.
yes,
That's
yes,
so good. We're
ah,
only here for a short time, Mo.
yes.
And that short time isn't even promised.
No, no. It's yes, it's such a short time. And I know that the days can feel long, and I know that we are, planners and all like we plan so far ahead. And I mean, it's February and we're already on to what, Easter. Like it's the way that everything around us keeps spinning and stirring and pushing, and the pressure and all of that. But the reality is like, yes, you have today. I have today. Who do we want to show up and be today? And once we decide that, then what do we have to say no to? Do we have to say no to sleeping in? Do we have to say no to eating whatever? Do we have to say no to sitting on the couch and binge watching or scrolling versus going out and taking a walk? Do I have to say no to, this request from somebody at work? Do I have to say no? Like, what do you have to say no in order to say yes today in that version of you that you get to choose to live? It's really your life. When we hand it over, I had a visual earlier when you were talking about your story, and I was like, man, that's like me buying a house and then like, I don't know, my family member coming in and being like, well, let me decorate for you. Let me like show you how your house should be, and let me do that. Like, it really should be this way. But it's my house. What do
Right.
you mean?
Right.
I'm going to do it how I want to do it.
Right.
Right? It's the
Yeah.
same with our life.
But we don't see it that way sometimes. It gets cloudy.
Hmm.
It gets noisy.
For sure.
And you start doubting yourself because you're carrying things that you were never meant to carry. You weren't made that way. You weren't made to think that way about yourself. I mean, that's why I love that you shared all of that. I'm glad we got it recorded this time, because it's so powerful. And it's kind of like that. It's the story that makes you pause because you can take a step back and you can relate it to something that you have walked through in your own personal life. And it just is such a black and white of that makes so much sense.
Mm,
Why did I do that? Why did I carry that negative comment or that smirk into my day? Why did I pour what happened um, here to the dinner table with my family that I'm blessed to sit around and break bread with and break down conversations of how their day went? But I'm sitting there in a mood because somebody done
mhm,
pissed me off and
mhm,
it wasn't the most important people in my life.
mm.
Like, why are like it's important to sift through things, and real raw things do happen and real raw things do piss us off. It's called being a human.
Right.
But if we let that affect how we are treating, it's that whole thing. You're what you're projecting out
Mm.
has
Yeah.
nothing to do with the people. And it's, I don't
Yeah.
know, like when you can just take steps back and you can look and you can just, you see things a lot clearer that way
Yeah.
and not led so much with the emotions of all of the things.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I think we're the only, if you think about it, like just in a natural sense, like you look outside and it's like if you plant a garden of flowers, I've never like gone outside and looked around and saw like my black-eyed Susan trying to become a rose. Like just
Right.
doesn't happen. They are what they are, and they are beautiful in their own way, and it doesn't take away from the beauty of the other thing, and it doesn't add to their own beauty by them just standing in what they are, and we're the only like species that's like, well, I gotta be like this, or I gotta make this person happy. Like, well,
Yeah.
no, the reality is if you are actually happy in your choices, then back to your point you just said, you give out that to other people. Like,
Right.
if I'm happy and content in what I'm doing and the choices I'm making and how I'm living, I got nothing but love for you because that's all I got in me, right? Like that's all I can project is happiness and love and joy because I got it myself. So that's all I can give you. That's all I can offer. It's when we start to try to, and we're shrinking back and then we're judging and we're pointing and we're whatever, or we're taking and like, it's this like ick, right?
Right.
But it's the reverse. And it makes sense because girl, can you imagine if we were all not distracted and we were all confident in what we were called to do and we actually like all were just laser focused on that and proud of who we were and building each other up, like what a different world we'd be living in.
Amen.
But
Amen
it
to
makes
that.
sense. It makes sense that we're distracted instead, right? Because
Right.
too much amazing stuff would get accomplished and it would be such a beautiful world if everybody wasn't distracted and focused. So
Right.
we don't live in that right now. We live in a fallen human world, and
Yeah.
the best thing for the enemy is that you stay distracted and stay away from your calling and stay away from bringing light to other people and stay away from impacting lives around you, and definitely stay away from being happy yourself for sure, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
yeah.
The secret to success, ladies, is your own happiness. Period. Like that's success.
And I think that's hard.
It doesn't come after. You don't get successful and then all of a sudden you're happy. You have to be happy on your road to success because that's the only way that you're truly going to lead to it. And that is my biggest belief when it comes to success because if you are truly happy with what you are walking towards, like you're doing it in a way that is filling your cup. And as you fill your cup and you continue to fill your cup, that's when it starts to overflow into the other people in your life that you care about. And I think we do live in a very, very interesting time because I think that even good things in our life that we can look as a good thing, we can then start to pivot off of our path to look at the good thing and start to second guess ourselves. Like an easy one would be like, we know from past podcasts, I'm not a huge AI person. I think as a creative, I think it can definitely get in your way and create more mental blocks, and it can make you feel like what you authentically put out, it's telling you, no, 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 we need to say it this way. Or no, no, and I'm like, I don't use those weird ass words. Like, I'm not like,
Did you see Seinfeld's spiel on that?
oh my gosh, I can't
I
stand
gotta send it.
Seinfeld.
I gotta send this.
Matt loves Seinfeld. And
I
I'm like,
so
I don't know why we're laughing. Like, what are we laughing at? I mean, I
I
like
thought I
Kramer.
didn't like him either, but I saw him live, completely different live, and hilarious. Hilarious.
I'll buy it. I'll
But
buy it when I
he
see
did
it.
this he did this spiel on AI, and it was basically like we're smart enough to create AI, dumb enough to use it. I don't know. I gotta send it to you. It was very funny.
Yeah.
And I was like, it made me
Yeah.
think of you. I'm like, yeah, this is what we
Yeah.
talk about.
Right. But even like things that are made with the idea of, oh, we could be more efficient. We can, we could produce things out quicker because we have this genius in our back pocket and everyone's got this genius assistant. But then you start to realize that, I mean, if you take a look around social media, my friends, like,
All
is it
the same.
authentic?
No, it's all the
It's all
same.
the same.
Mm, all the
Um,
same.
a lot of it is all the same,
Yeah.
I'll say. But that can get in your, that is like that story that you said. And now like you feel like you've lost everything because you don't know what direction you're supposed to go into. And oh my gosh, everybody's using AI. Let me jump
Yeah.
into this. And oh, I'm going to put this out there because AI said it was good.
Yep.
AI did it, so it must be good, but it doesn't really fit in your
Yep.
path of how you would have done it if you didn't have this AI. And now you feel like still lost
Yep.
because you're not saying goodbye to the things that are getting in the way of your best life. It is okay to fail your way there. It is okay to stumble over your words. It is okay to
Be
make
human.
yourself like, what'd you say?
Be human.
Be human.
Yeah.
Laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And if somebody is laughing at you because you are trying to either better your life or you're trying to um, work on something that makes you happy, something that makes you feel like I'm showing up for what I feel I'm called to do, the lights in your life, if you have somebody trying to tear that down, they are the worst kind of people in your
Yeah.
life, and you need to say goodbye to them.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law and I were just talking about it when we were working out the other day, and it's a Taylor Swift quote just like that. Like she said something on a podcast where it was along the lines like the worst type of human in the world is the one that makes you feel stupid for being excited about something.
Mm,
In the last podcast, and I probably didn't say it exactly word for word. I can drop that in the show notes because that is so powerful and it's so true. In the last podcast we talked about, that's what that family member tried doing to me.
yeah. Yeah.
You're so cool.
Yeah. I have a question because you said like something about success. The first step in success is making yourself happy or something like that. So for somebody that's like a recovering people pleaser, that sounds selfish, right? Like
Yeah.
make yourself happy above it. And like I think moms, that sounds we're like, we're supposed to serve everybody else first, right? Like, so can you break that down more? Because I know it's not selfish and I have my own thoughts around it, but I do know
Yeah.
that the first initial thought of hearing that for a lot of us is like, oh, wait a second. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean make sure that I'm happy first?
Right. I'll put a scenario, a real life scenario that I walk through that will bring this to the truth of why I say this. You brought up being a mom. I'm a mom. I had both of my kids when I was 23. They're not twins, by the way. And I was a night owl. Okay. It's my time, me time. I need to like scroll, like decompress the day. And that turned into hitting the alarm clock 500 times in the morning. And then I rush the morning and I'm like, brush your teeth. You gotta eat. You gotta get in the car. We're gonna be late for school. We gotta go. We gotta go. And I know that I've talked a little bit deeper
Yeah.
on this topic in a past podcast, but people pleasing is what I'm going to come full circle on this. And the mindset of putting yourself first is selfish. So I'm giving this scenario
Mhm.
of waking up and rushing the day because I'm like, they have to get to school. They have to get there on time. Like, we can't be late. Those are all that's me as the parent. Don't want them to walk into their day like that, being late. Like, period. So we got to rush everything. Then I drop them off and I feel like, man, I shouldn't have acted like that. I shouldn't have rushed the day. Like, did they eat enough? You know what, like you start
Mhm.
replaying
Mhm.
the mindset on it. And then you take a step back and you're like, man, I need to put myself first. And what would allow me to wake up in the morning and not feel rushed and not create that day for them? And still, we can not be late for school, right? So putting them first in that scenario. I know this is probably a weird scenario, but I then became a morning person and I gave myself an hour before I ever used to get up. And I prioritized a morning routine back then to where I had an hour before I needed to get them up, before all the 5 million the snoozes, right? So I gave myself an hour so that I had a calm morning. And that calm morning of putting what I needed to do to get my mindset right for the day helped me be a better mom in that morning for them.
Yep.
And because I did that for myself, which it wasn't easy, being a night owl and trying to wake up at
Right.
5:30 in the morning is not freaking easy.
Right.
Um, but because of that choice of being selfish with getting up earlier so that I didn't have all of the distractions of the day yet, allowed me to have a calmer process of getting the kids up and really just seeing the moments that I'm blessed with in that moment and not rushing everything and feeling like,
Which created your successful vision of motherhood.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
I mean, I hope that's
No,
what
it tracks, and that's what yeah. No, it totally makes sense, and I think that that helps put in perspective because I think when we say like make yourself happy first, everyone's like, oh, bubble baths and champagnes and ladies' night. Like, no, it's not that, and it's not like a rude. You gotta be rude to somebody else or aggressive to something else in order to do that. And I think that that is again like helpful when our listeners are sitting there and going, okay, this sounds great, but like how do I even
yeah.
what do I do? Well,
Right.
exactly that. You think about, you kind of like reverse engineer it, right?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
if this is the best version of me and I know she does XYZ, how do I deconstruct that and rebuild it to get there,
Right.
And doing that means that yes, I have to put a focus on me and what I can control.
Right. And when you realize what you want that moment to look like, well, how has it been working out for you?
Yeah.
How is hitting the snooze button 9 times and, oh my gosh, we're going to be late? How does that feel? How is that going?
Right.
That's what you're trying to run away from.
Ah, and it goes into what you're saying. You have to say no to what? Being a night owl. Like,
Yep.
shoot. It
Dang
all
it.
ties together.
Yeah. Damn it. I got to get up early.
Yeah.
Want to say yes to that? No. But when something's important to you, and you know that you have to do things for yourself in order to make things better for the people that you care the most about, you're going to focus differently on what you need to do. What do I need to say no to? And what do I need to say yes to? If I need to create a better moment in the morning, then I need to wake up earlier so that I can get my ish together so my ish don't pour over into theirs. Like
Yeah.
they don't got to take my ish to school with them.
Yeah.
You could take out motherhood and you can put in any other scenario.
Yeah.
Like you have to fill your cup first no matter what.
Yeah.
Like you have to because you are going to project
Yeah.
your inward out. And if you're not coming from a calm, happy place, and we're humans, it's not always going to be the thing. But if you're not coming from that, then you're going to create it's people are going to pick up on it
Right.
and you're going to create a situation.
Right.
Like so you have to name your worth, and as a people pleaser, I'm going to tell you something, it's selfish if you don't put yourself first. And I was a people pleaser and I probably still am a little bit of a people pleaser, but with boundaries now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I think you get to a point where it's like what's important to you, what's going to make you happy, why does it make you happy? Take it 5 levels deep,
Mhm.
or you like your 3 levels deep, right?
As
I
many
just read,
levels as it takes.
yeah, keep going.
Keep.
Um, and when you can figure out the why, the how to becomes easy.
Yeah.
And easy doesn't mean that it's like, oh, I can just do it like no problem. Easy means when you have a purpose worth fighting for, you're going to fight through it.
I've been doing this journaling lately, like this little method, because I was like, let me try. I love to write, I love to journal, but this was like a very constructive thing that I saw, and I was like, I'm actually been extremely consistent with it, which, if you know me, is rare. Um, but it was, you take, she called it a pebble, but it's essentially like something that threw you off in the day, something that either frustrated you or irritated you or got in your way or like whatever made you angry, and you start with that, and then you like journal about that, and then you write down, what's a pebble, a truth, and then you write down a prayer. Yes, so you write down, so you're writing about this thing that frustrates you, then you
She's frozen. Oh no, Mo. Well, my friends, I'm sure the rest of her story is very, very good. We're gonna see if she's gonna hop back on. Um, but with that, I don't know if I should pause this. I guarantee her computer died. That's what happened. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. No warning. She just texted me. Computer just died. Well, when you're on a good message, sometimes things happen. So I'm not sure where she was going to go with that particular topic, with the pedal and the truth and the prayer. But I can tell you when she was talking, it made me think and visualize, um, just visualize having a cup in front of you, right? So if we have a cup in front of us and I'm holding my water cup, if you were to put pebbles in this cup, right? And you fill it to the top, and I know this is probably not what she was going to go for when with what she was saying, but this is what I was envisioning. If you put pebbles in and you fill it to the top, there was something that I came across. I don't remember what it was or who said it, but they asked like their classroom, is the cup full? And the class was like, yeah, it's full. And then they poured in, actually, no, it was like big rocks. It was big rocks first. And then they asked the class if it was full. And the class said yes. And then he poured in like little pebbles, I think. And then it shook it. And he's like, well, we were able to fit those in. So now is that full? And class said yes. And then he poured in some sand and then shook the cup and then was able to get the sand in there. And they're like, is it full now? And the class was like, yes. And then he poured water in it. And he was like, you know what I mean? So I feel like we make room for what we believe is possible. And I could have just butchered that whole scenario of perspective that I read a long time ago, but with the cup and the rocks and the pebbles and the sand and the water. And everybody is always saying, after each time you fill that cup, it's full, it's full, it's full. But it's proof that it's not. Like you can keep pouring into that cup. So we're always going to believe what is possible based on our own limitations. And that's why it's important to get yourself in good conversations, in good perspective, in conversations that can shift your mindset into maybe I should look at this, or maybe I should look into that, or maybe I should focus here, or maybe I can really take a step back today and prioritize those things that do make me happy. But I don't think Mo's having back on, but that's okay. Uh, another day, another topic. That was really powerful, Mo. And I just want you to know I adore you. I love you. I'm so grateful that we have come together on this rooted podcast idea. I really feel like making a shift is so important. It's so important. And I'm so grateful to just have raw, real, honest conversations and be able to have it recorded in a way where you know that it can bless somebody else. And that is the whole point of what we do, lifting people up and out of their way and building up belief and confidence and through the truth and great conversations that can absolutely happen. So, become the best version of yourself comes with a lot of goodbyes. And with that, it's important to know what that best version of yourself looks like. And we walk through a lot of things in our life, whether that is things that sift us down, whether that is experiences that we felt like we failed at. But I will tell you, if we have the failure mentality holding us back, failing is part of the process, right? It's very important to fail your way there, fail better, right? It's what grows you towards that best version of yourself. If it is that people are throwing shade your way, put on some glasses, right? Like you're what is that one saying? My future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Like that's the important part. But you need to figure out what that best version of yourself is, and you need to do it without limitations on your shoulders of past experiences and past narratives that you've walked through. Um, What do you want to reach, rock, and maintain the rest of your happy, healthy life? What does that look like? And do it unapologetically. Do it with the best version, and then 10x it, right? Make it so much more. So with that, this has been an incredible conversation. I am so sad that it got cut short with Mo, but man, I'm so grateful that you guys got to hear what I heard prior to pressing play on this episode, because it's so true. So, become the best version of yourself comes with a lot of goodbyes. And in order for me to have another podcast with all of you, I need to say goodbye. So, with that, you have a wonderful day. Choose to stay rooted and rise above anything that is holding you back. So, with that, we'll see you next time. Bye. We hope that landed. If it did, drop a comment, share it up, and you know what? We'll see you next week. Until then, stay rooted, sister.